Joining me today here at the Journeyman is a man who has a big fight coming up on October 12th. He is the fighting fireman, as some might know him as. He is undefeated, 5-0 with one draw. Stevan Ivic, fighting out of Brisbane. How are you, mate? Good to chat to you.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. I am good. How are you?
Look, can't complain. Can't complain. Bit of a topsy-turvy day, as we sort of spoke about off camera, but hey, you
Yeah.
get that in the big job, I suppose. So, listen, October 12th, huge fight, Australian title. How's the prep been, mate? How have you been handling the sort of camp going into it?
Yeah, prep has been great coming off the back building off those two camps I had earlier in the year. They haven't really slowed down too much. And I was actually looking to fight September a little earlier. So we got in camp yeah, a little earlier than what some might expect for a fight on October 12th. But yeah, everything's been going great. We've had good sparring, lots of training, and in between my schedule as a firefighter, and starting to get that balance down. So now I'm gonna definitely coming to this fight with the best shape I've ever been in my life, especially as a boxer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to these 10 rounds.
Yeah, it's funny you sort of mentioned that about your schedule. You know, this has been your most active year as a pro. Oh,
Yeah,
not necessarily year, calendar year, but like 6 months, the 6 month stretch, sorry, you've had three fights. You know, did you
yeah.
think sort of returning to the sport after a bit of a hiatus last year, did you think it sort of you'd be this active, you know?
Um, yeah. So the plan, my team told me that they wanted me to have 4 fights this year, and if this all goes well, we might be on track for that, hopefully. And so I was keen for it, but like I'm always someone who like agreed to something and then just try and work it out later on as I go. Yeah.
Yeah, bullet a gate, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's sort of been a really interesting stretch in the sense that you've dealt with a lot of different styles. You know, your first fight of the year was Australasian title against Johan Lind.
Yeah.
You know, awkward sort of guy. Took a little while to gel into it, but once he got going, he was sort of a lot more active later in the fight. And then, you know, you fight a Mator in your last fight,
Yeah.
who's a lot different. You know, he was bull out of the gate, you know, straight into it, throwing heavy combinations from the get go. You know, what were some of the things you took out of that little stretch, you know, heading into this one?
Yeah, so that was that that Johan fight was interesting. Hang on, sorry, one sec. Excuse me. Can you just a second? Hey, sorry about
No, it's okay.
that. Um, yeah, so that fight was that Johan fight was frustrating for me, but I learned a lot from it. He does things that he's a bit like awkward and off balance, and that long lead arm proved to be more of a challenge than I was anticipating. So I thought that during the fight, I thought we were like landing cleaner shots and doing the cleaner work. Um, but yeah, the judges scored that a draw, so that was a tough pill to swallow. But if I look back on it and trying to remove myself and try to be as unbiased as possible, it's like I can objectively say I didn't do enough to make it undeniable that I won that fight. Like I had some clean moments, but there were too few and far between where if a judge didn't happen to see that shot I land, probably doesn't look like I'm doing anything for like a minute and a half, you know? So that's why when I went into the Mato fight, I wanted to stand there and trade more and to work a lot more and to not leave it, well, obviously not leave in the hands of the judges, but if it does go to the judges, to be the by far the more active fighter. And so with Johan, like typically in my style and leading up to all my fights, including that one, I use my feet to control the fight, to control the distance, and to try and counter off them falling into space. And with Johan, I just didn't have the timing down, and I wasn't there with my feet. So I wanted to then develop in my next fight, standing there more and using my hands to counter, which is a bit riskier, but it's going to put you in a bit better position to counter these shots. So yeah, try that against the Mato. And honestly, we didn't have much footage of him as a pro. I didn't think he was going to be as good as he was. And yeah, he caught me. I made a mistake in the first round and he caught me. But then yeah, I guess just had to double down and I went back to the my corner after round one, and the whole scenario played in my head, like coming out in round two and him beating me, but stopping me. I asked myself, is that how this is going to happen? And the answer was just no. And once I decided that no, that's not going to happen, I somehow went out there in round two with just so much confidence that I was going to win that fight. And when I watch it back, that round one, I don't know what the hell I was confident about between you and me. Like, not much went my way. He caught me clean, and then the made it worse, I wasn't even sure what he caught me with. So I don't know what the hell I was confident in. Maybe it was all the training and the quick back-to-back fight in the two camps and everything I learned from the Johan fight. But yeah, I think after round three, my team was like, you can still use your feet to get out of range as well. I was like, oh, that's probably a good idea. So yeah, coming off, yeah. So facing all these different styles, I've had to try and change my approach, and yeah, now it's just trying to put it all together in the right combination for the type of opponent I'm going to be fighting.
Yeah, and just on that sort of opponent you're fighting, firstly, thank you for that kind of candor because we don't sort of get that kind of insight from a fighter, leading 10 days out from a huge fight. So I really appreciate you going into that detail. But this fighter, you're going to be fighting Johnny Maila. He's out of Toowoomba. He's a Brendan Smith trained guy. That gym is just full of guys who love to bang.
Yeah.
That's not being disrespectful, but they are very tough. They're hard men in that gym. And we've seen in Johnny Mailer's fights, he throws bombs from the get go. Have you come across him in sparring? I know there's a lot of sort of inter gym stuff in Queensland, but what do you sort of make of him as a fighter?
Well, yeah, as you said, like no doubt he'd be tough, and he obviously wants to, throw big shots and try and knock you out. But I've never sparred him. There's come in a couple of times we nearly fought for whatever reason. It didn't happen, and now it's finally happening. But yeah, I think my like initial style of fighting, where I use my feet to control the range and the distance of fights, it's pretty much just built on the premise that I don't think there are a lot of heavyweights out there that are actually going to be able to outbox me, and they're all going to have to try and knock me out if they want to win. So me having the full work I do is going to make it hard for them to do that, and effectively they're going to have to take some chances and some risks if they want to get within range to land these big bombs. Because yeah, as I said, I don't think they're going to be able to beat me on the scorecards any day of the week. So yeah, being that he's going to come tough, he's going to come prepared, and he's going to throw big wild shots. Like I got to be switched on. I can't get careless, and I got to stay defensively sound, and I think I'll be able to get the job done one way or the other.
Yeah, I think we sort of saw that defensive soundness come out in your last fight, and that's sort of the way you broke it down. You started using your feet more from around about the third round to change those angles and against a heavy hitter, sort of in the ilk of Maila. So it'll be an interesting fight. Me as a fight fan, I can't wait for it. But obviously the Australian title's on the line, first 10-rounder, second title fight this year. That's got to feel pretty special given you've taken a bit of an unconventional path to get there. I know you've had a big break out of the sport from your amateur days. Traveling the world as an air technician, excuse me. And then taking a break once you turn pro to become a firefighter. Been a long road, but detail that journey and how you've come to that realization that this is something you want to do and getting that Australian title.
Cool. Well, yeah, I guess from my time when I was just working a 9 to 5 as aircraft technician, it was okay, but I guess I just didn't. I felt like I could do this job later in life, and I wanted to attempt something that was going to bring out the best in me. There's something that was going to require me to go all in, and yeah, I knew. I boxed a little bit when I was in my early 20s and stuff, and I saw a lot of the fighters that were getting around at the time, and I believed that if I trained, I could be here one day doing what I'm about to do. So since I decided to come back, that was 5 years ago. And it's been a process. There's been ups and downs. There's been time away. There's been hand injury going into the academy. But yeah, have a second title fight this year, like very fortunate. I have the team I do around me that trying to make these opportunities for me, and I just need to do my job and execute on them. But yeah, it's a dream come true. Like you told me five years ago, like, hey, quit, stop focusing and worrying about chasing money and getting these jobs and stuff, and just focus on things that you're actually passionate about, you enjoy doing. Be fighting for the Australian title before you know it. Like, yeah, it's a pretty surreal feeling. It's very surreal.
Yeah, it's a credit to the work you put in. Obviously, I sort of speak to that as someone who's sort of outside the inner circle, but you sort of see the work that you've put in, mate. It's definitely a credit to it. Look, just on the heavyweight division in Australia, it's starting to build a bit of a name for itself in the sense that there's all these different fighters for different promotions. Justice Herney sort of leading the charge on the world level, but all these different gyms are producing all these different heavyweights that they're putting in some good work. Do you sort of look outside of what you've got in front of you every now and then? Do you sort of keep tabs on it? And what are your thoughts on
Yeah, all the time, all the time. Keeping tabs on all these fighters is what brought me back into it. Like so. No, it's great. It's great. As you said, yeah, there's different promotions out there, and they're all starting to build momentum, and yeah, there are a few heavyweight fighters getting around, and I suspect that um, once I get this belt, then there'll be the fights to make, and yeah, whatever promotion it's on, I'll let my team handle and worry about that. But yeah, if I execute on this opportunity, yeah, it's gonna be I think it's going to lead to some exciting fights for me in the future.
and some exciting top fights for us as fans for sure. Obviously this one's going to be on Channel 7, a main event on free to air. Must fill you with a few little, not necessarily butterflies, but it must be pretty exciting feeling to be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. To have, for anyone to just be able to download the app, the 7+ app, and then to create an account and watch all the fights for free. It's yeah, I'd like again a year ago if you told me you're gonna be fighting on Channel 7 free to air, like it's I'm sure I'll look back on all this one day and be like still mind blown about it, still trying to process it all. And yeah, just hope we could put on a good fight for the fans, and it's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a fun night.
For sure. Really looking forward to it. Look, just to sound off, just a generic one, but I can see you're a very analytical fighter. You break things down step by step, pretty systematically. I can see you're definitely a thinker. What are your thoughts on how this one goes down? What's going to be your key to victory if you'd be so generous to give us a little bit of an insight into what you're thinking?
Well, I may have been advised by someone close to me to not give away my game plan, but I'm gonna stand there and trade and not take a backward step.
Beautiful. I love that. That's
No,
the way to go.
No. Like everyone can have a plan, right? Famous Mike Tyson. Everyone's got plans till they get punched in the face, as Mike Tyson said. But yeah, like I think again, just looking at it analytically, I think I've had more fights than him. I've been in some longer fights, and no disrespect to anyone, but I think no, I don't know if that's quite accurate. I was going to say I think I may have fought a tougher opposition, although his last opponent was quite tough. So, but in saying that, I think I've got more rounds under my belt with more experienced opponents. So, I think the longer this fight goes, the more it's going to favor me. And but at the end of the day, I'll do what I have to do to win. So, and I'm quite confident that in my ability that I can fight this fight more than one way. So, whatever they bring, I'm sure I'll have an answer for.
Beautiful. Look, that's where we'll finish, mate. Look, thank you so much for taking 10, 15 minutes out of your day to have a bit of a chat to me. I love chatting to you. I think you're, like I sort of said, that kind of insight you don't sort of get with some fighters who are sort of focused, dialed in, and not really wanting to take their cards away from their chest. But just to give us that kind of insight, it's been great, mate. Really appreciate your time, and all the best for October 12. Can't wait to watch.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate you.